Hey, welcome to Mark's Basement Arcade, EM work and chat, and all that other cool stuff. I'm back with Dave Brennan again.
Hello.
And we're going to be working on that straight flush, doing some more work on it. If there's any problem with the audio or choppiness, please put in the comments there. I'm still experimenting with two cameras running at the same time, and my computer doesn't seem to be too happy with it. And then everything else is just a little screwed up today. Just a little weird. So, what are we gonna do? We're gonna
yeah, I was hoping you could show me your fancy method of cleaning score reels.
Yes.
I thought I was really impressed with that last time I was here. Mark has a really neat way of making them squeaky clean and shiny.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've worked on a number of EMs before. I've never gone through that extent to make them look like that, but now that I've seen it, I'd like to do it on some of my games. So selfishly, I want to learn.
Hey, thank Pat Backrat. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a really cool method. You cannot do this method with every score reel. If you have your score reels and they got like a chalky feeling where the paint is,
yeah.
no. I found out they work basically more on Williams, and I think some of the Gottliebs, I think, had it. Chicago Coin, because I just did them to Chicago Coin. But yeah, I think it's a 3-step process. I haven't done it in a while, but
right. So if it's like a screen printed one or something like Bally, they just never want to put those in an ultrasonic cleaner because all of the digits will be gone.
Yeah.
So.
I did it with my Captain Fantastic when I first got it. It was one of the first machines I tore apart, and I actually put the score reel in a bucket of water and let it sit for a while, and it did weird things. So, we won't do that one anymore. I don't recommend it.
Well, I think they have decals if you screw it up.
Yeah.
Which it's not the end of the world. I think what was that? Incognito has those, so you could print them out.
And there's a couple other people that sell a whole sheet, and you can just put them right around.
Right. Yeah. So.
But anyways, and I'm gonna get the pop bumpers completely off. I gotta desolder all the sockets so I can get the wires disconnected, so I can pull them off, and then I'm gonna start doing other junk on here to get this. I'll probably start rebuilding the pop bumpers. I don't have the new flipper kits yet. I can start with the pop bumpers, get them all set up, and then when I get the playfield flipped over and clean, because I always clean around the pop bumper bodies first before I finally finish them. So I'll novice and whatever clean and then wax, and that way I can put the whole pop bumper back together, and then once the machine's done, then I can go over to playfield, and I don't have to worry about going like this trying to get around pop bumpers, because it's not fun.
Been doing that quite a bit. I'm working on another project where I'm just tumbling a bunch of metal parts, and also using that. It's like a metal polish and some that. What I really like the rock tumbler.
Yeah.
And I just have a small one. It'd be great if there's like I don't know if there's a bigger version of it, because I do have one of those bowl tumbler things, and I feel like it just doesn't work quite as well as I'd like it to as the rock tumbler, because you can chuck in a bunch of nuts and bolts into that and small parts, and they come out perfect.
Oh.
So I really like it. If there was a bigger one that was like the size of a small bucket, that would be cool. So
seen like YouTube channel I watch, he takes like gas tanks when they're dirty. He'll jack up his car and he'll bungee cord the gas tank to his tire and just put it in low gear with a stick on the seat to push on the brake just a little bit, and just let the car run like that for like a half hour, 45 minutes, and the tire will spin, and he's got nuts and bolts. And it gets them sparkly clean.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's not probably good for pinball parts, but
yeah,
it would knock the rust and crap right out of a metal gas tank, though.
Yep, I remember doing that. You get those kits. I think I did that to a motorcycle gas tank before.
Yeah.
You're supposed to put nuts and bolts in there, and then you shake it around with some acid to clean it out. So, where do you want to start then? Like if you show me part of the method,
okay,
and then I can take that and run with it,
all right.
and then
First we'll look at those. What do you call it? We'll go to one camera. And we are not on, are we? No, we're not. I was not prepared. Alright, so these, let me get this just up a little bit. There. These, we'll get these completely tore apart. That way I can start ultrasonic cleaning them. I don't know if we're getting them back together today, but we will get them apart. Alright, my screwdriver, my little screwdriver. What I do with these, I separate them in pieces. Can you give me one of those little plastic trays, please?
Here?
Yeah. Thank you. These I will separate in all tiny little pieces. All the little screws and springs will go in here.
And you do one at a time, or you just do
I'll tear them all apart completely first.
Now, do you take, well, you might have done this enough times, but I think for people that haven't done it before, it probably makes sense to take a bunch of pictures so you know how it goes.
I would start with just the way I did it first. Take a picture here, how all the screws were, and take your screws out. Once you get them off, you can take these and start stacking them up in a pyramid.
So what about the position that the digit was in?
That's actually pretty cool. If you look right here, there's a nub right at the end. You can see it pointing right here. This only allows this to sit on this gear in one special way, and right here is the receiver for the nub. So this cannot go on, like let's say that way, because it will bind incorrectly. So that has to line up right into that groove, and once it gets in that groove, the cams go through here, and with the lever for the switch, and it lets the machine know it's on the correct number every single time. But you have to have those two matched up, otherwise you're going to be out of sync. The machine will think it's at 0 when the score reel says it's on 7 or something like that. Yeah, and then like this step here I'm doing now, I would take a picture of all these pieces and then start taking all these clips off.
So why wouldn't you just take the switch stacks off, take the coil out, and then you could just dunk this whole thing in your ultrasonic?
Because my ultrasonic is small, and I only can put a couple pieces in it at a time.
Okay.
If I had a giant one, I would just take this all off and just throw the whole thing in there at one time.
Okay. Yeah. The one that I have is, I think, like a 20 liter or 30 liter, something like that.
Yeah. This is as big as mine is.
Okay. Because I have a small one and a bigger one, and the big one I can put like a whole drop target mech in there, so I don't have to take everything apart. But yeah, when I take a mech like this, it would be, I'll remove the coil.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not that you can't ultrasonic a coil, but it's going to take off the writing on your label, and your label might even come off. So with those, you can ultrasonic them. Like you can dunk them and just do a little scrubbing and stuff. They don't need to be crazy, but you make sure that they dry out really good before you put power to them again. So you can. You want me to get that? Can you see it?
Yeah.
You can set it on a dehumidifier or something like that to dry them out, overnight, when you install them again.
This is how I totally dismantle the coil. And you always remember how this goes back in too. And this will come apart. A lot of times you will have to take the switch stacks out if this doesn't want to move. Yes, they will have to come off. There's no little screwdriver to get the coil out. Or you can unloosen the screw a little bit.
Because it's the end of the screw is binding on it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to take it all the way off, just loosen it.
Yeah. Just so you can get it past it enough. And then always check these wires too. Always. There we go.
For like loose
solder, broken.
Mm-hmm.
And this is garbage.
So that's a shorter sleeve.
Yep.
So do you have to cut a sleeve to fit
No,
then?
I buy both sizes.
Okay.
I have a whole thing of 2 different sizes. Well, actually more.
But you can.
Yes, you can.
You can cut them if you wanted to keep like 1 or 2 sizes.
Yeah.
So I showed on a video that I made before where you can keep an old plunger.
Yes, that's exactly what I do.
Yep, and then you just take a pipe cutter and you can cut it to whatever size. So say you didn't want, or, if you occasionally work on EMs, really the size that you would normally get, this would work. There's also the like flipper sleeves are longer. So really keeping flipper sleeves and then like standard coil sleeves are probably your go-to. But if you occasionally work on EMs, you could cut these down to, for the times that you need to replace them.
If you're working on a Chicago coin, you will need to buy these, and you're going to have to cut your own small sleeves for the score reels and all the other little coils, because Chicago coin wanted to be a little different, so their score reel coils and their other little coils, this will not work in it. This has to be just a little bit longer. So if you put this in, you will not go through the
custom cut every one.
will not go through the little stop there. So I think I had to do 26 for casino.
So that'd be good. So a Harbor Freight box for organizing, and then you could just chuck you could also get a pipe cutting tool there.
Yep.
And have a nice little sleeve box, just like Mark has.
And then these are, I believe these are for chimes. Or no, these are, where's my chimes? Here's my chimes. These are for chimes right there, for rebuilding chimes and knockers. But yeah, I got them for all different sizes because I was doing some solid state machines, and some of them had longer coils.
And you can get chime kits too.
Yeah.
I think the Pinball Resource.
Yeah.
They'll come with the grommets and everything that you need.
And then some of the metal ones for the other ones. I usually don't replace these. I just will clean them. But if they're burred up inside really bad, then I'll replace them. But the metal ones usually are good.
Yeah. Yep. I've tumbled those before too.
5, 6 of these. We will need it.
How many we got? 1, 2, 3,
4, 5.
5.
Put coil sleeves on.
Oh.
Yeah. Those two. It's one of my shop jobs. When I do shop jobs, every coil sleeve will get replaced, except for the coin unit, because the coin unit has been disabled and there's no need to rebuild it unless the person is going to continuously use coin.
Or if it's going to go on, if it's going to go on location. There was one thing I think I mentioned last time where, so you can close the 0 position switch to effectively make it think that it always has credits on it. But there's another method. Say this was going to go to somebody that they might put it on location, but then they could bring it home as well. So you could really solder in leads and crimp on a connector where you can. So plugging it in is free play and unplugged is coin play. So it could be interchangeable.
Yep, I've seen that, and then I've seen people put a little toggle switch too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I think I really like that method just for that reason. It's very obvious. Like, okay, you're not permanently, changing it. So then somebody that doesn't know how that works, will instantly know what to do.
And sometimes I'll just desolder one wire and move it to the next leaf too. And that's basically a permanent.
Right.
But a lot of these old EMs, they don't have coin mechs. Some have completely stripped coin doors where they cut all the wiring off the door. My travel time has that. It's just a skin. You open a door and there's nothing on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
They do
So
that.
Are we free? We got to get the switch off.
Yeah, the switch will have to come off. And this thing will get all nice and clean because look at the just buildup of garbage. But
so you have to warm up your ultrasonic?
yeah, it's already warming up.
Okay.
So we'll get all these pieces off and throw
So just
them all
unscrew this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll get on cleaning these. We will need some towels.
And how long do you typically ultrasonic? I mean, I'm sure that there's a timer setting on it. Is it like
it's usually 3 times, which is 2 to 3 times. I think it's 8 minutes a cycle.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll pull them out and look at them. If they look a little nasty still, then I'll go to the next one.
Just like making toast, right?
Yep.
If it's not brown enough.
Yep. You just do it again. That's how I go with these because some of these, this could be just dust that's just stuck to it and it comes off really quick. But if it's caked on grease, which I think these are, they're going to take a little bit longer of cooking than that.
Yep.
And same with this one. This one, I can tell it's got grease on it.
And I think definitely the temperature helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
With breaking that up and getting them clean pretty fast.
Yep.
These are pretty dusty, dirty, but I think it'll clean up pretty fast. And then do you want me to just leave the screws or put that in there too? The screw stack.
Does that have the hunk of metal that holds them together?
No, that threads into there.
I guess.
Do you want to thread it back in and ultrasonic it?
Sure, I'll do that.
There you go.
This I'll throw in there real quick while we're cleaning that. So has anybody got any questions?
And then you probably want this then too, this stack, or this metal piece.
Yeah, they can get cleaned.
Okay. This off.
Why don't these want to screw back into there? Still want to screw in?
No?
No.
Yeah, there's no back plate to it.
Maybe I'm putting it in the wrong hole.
Yeah, yep, that's
Oh,
the
there we
spot
go.
right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, now they're going perfect.
Just look
Now
at,
they're like perfect.
see, that's another reason to do a good reason to do it one at a time.
Yeah.
I'll just leave this unless you wanted to clean this one. This little guy.
No.
Just leave it.
No, we'll just clean those. I'll go throw this in the
one
ultrasonic cleaner real quick.
One more thing here.
Oh.
This tape. There's this bracket.
Here's
There, I got it.
that. Okay.
Okay, we're good now.
These will go in there for a minute, and then I'll come back and we'll clean that other part.
So I was gonna say, I've been doing pot bumpers for early solid state game I'm working on, and you can see some of the progress I've made. If you go to TurboGrafx-7 Facebook group, I will post pictures and things of what I'm doing. So I'm going through pot bumpers, and when you're taking them apart, like I didn't have enough space in my tumbler anyway to tumble all the parts, so I purposely left one together so you can go back and reference it. Because there's a few different size screws, and so you have that as a reference. So same thing with score reels. Since they're all basically the same, you can go back and look at that versus taking them all apart and then which way did this go? Where did these screw go?
Yeah.
So it's helpful to have something as a reference. And if there's only one of them, then that's where the pictures come in handy. So
yeah, I love taking pictures. I gotta get somebody to send me pictures of a Gottlieb solar fire.
I have.
You have one?
You mean Williams Solar Fire?
No, Solar City.
Solar City.
Yeah, that's Solar City.
Yeah.
Somebody messed with the stepper on it, and it's not working exactly. It's working, but it's not working. I think the gears were pulled off and then put in a different spot. I got it so it's doing its thing, but it's not doing its thing correctly because there's a switch stack, kind of like on a credit wheel, where it comes around and it hits one half of the switch, and then it goes around and hits the other half. So I don't know if there's like a...
I think I saw that post.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a plastic spacer that's missing between them.
Right.
Where when it pushes, it disconnects and connects one, or what. So...
They made quite a few of them. You should be able to get a picture.
I'm hoping somebody will send me something. I'll set that there because I'm going to need it again.
So while we're waiting for that, at this point we can clean these switch stacks.
Yeah.
And get those. We won't be able to adjust them because it's not in the.
We can start cleaning up these too.
Okay. So you want to show me that method?
Can you give me one blue shop towel?
Yep.
And then we're going to put these, I put them there. Alright, so
And this is just
this
the
is
ammonia-free glass cleaner.
I just spray it on here, get this nice and wet. And what I always do is I grab the reel and I start on 0. So I always know where I'm starting. These are a little bit harder to do because they're bigger. I'm used to doing the little ones all the time. And I'm just going to go around 2 or 3 times. I'm just going to turn it like this. And already it's clean, but it's not my clean yet. We're going to go on the inside here.
I've had so many of these that they get like a nicotine stain to them.
Novus too.
And then you can't get that all the way off with just regular cleaner.
Yeah.
We're not to that. I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, but that will be the next step.
So why don't you chuck this in the ultrasonic?
Because I like my numbers.
Oh.
Yes, you can put these in ultrasonic cleaner if you do not want to ever have numbers again. Because these they're like painted on.
So those will come off.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like playfield plastics, all your colored playfield plastics, those are painted on too. But you don't want to put those in the cleaner because that will destroy them too. Now, when you get on this side, you see how the points are facing. I always will go this way, so I'm rubbing against the points. I'm not going and catching all the edges of them.
And do you ever do a toothbrush or something on there to like scrub it?
No, just
make it.
Sometimes I have to use a tiny little screwdriver wrapped around my microfiber cloth, and then I'll get in there just a little bit with the Novus.
Okay.
But these will look brand new when I'm done. This first stage is just to get the first layer of yuck off. All the...
So that builds up this like coil dust and...
Yes.
Yep.
This does that. So we're at this stage right now where, it's clean. you could put this back in because the numbers are really nice and clean. They don't really have that polish on yet, and that's our next stage. We're gonna polish them. So let's get the Novus 2.
How crazy do you go on the inside of the star?
I'll go in there too.
Okay.
You've seen the casino score rails.
Yep.
I go right into there.
And these are pretty filthy. I mean,
Yeah.
you're touching the whole Mac. I mean, there's tons of that coil dust everywhere, and it just cakes in there. And when you have, well, do these have?
Okay, yeah, I'll take a picture of the stepper on the Gulfstream. I'll have to dig the head out. But look at one of my videos, any of my one-player ones, like what do you call it, like Superstar. That one, you should be able to get the gist of the stepper off. If not, email me at marksbasementarcade@gmail.com, and I'll see what pictures I have, and I'll try to send them to you. All right, now we're gonna start at 1 again.
So Novus 2 is essentially, it's a like a rubbing compound.
Yes.
So you could use, I don't think I have any Novus 2, but I do have, various.
Look at that, it's already that much black coming off of it. And that's not the paint. That's just the built-in dirt.
I'm sure if you looked at the score reel with a magnifying glass, I'm sure it has pores like anything else. Kind of like, when you clean the playfield and everybody says, oh, use magic eraser. And, well, if you looked at the playfield close, there's lots of small crevices for dirt to get ground in there, and the ball goes around, and similar kind of thing. So and I would think you probably don't want to be too aggressive on these to take the numbers off, right?
No, I haven't taken them off. I've had it where they were touched up before, and then I've taken the touch up off, and then I just retouch them back up again with a gloss black paint pen.
Yep.
But no, I've never removed them except for on a Gottlieb. Once I did a little test on it, and it just got black instantly. I'm like, okay, I'm not even cleaning these. You can't. This method only works basically with anything these are glossy. If they're really glossy and you can't really feel them, that's what this works with, really. But then, yeah, we'll go in there like this and clean that. You can see it's already getting there. And the same with this side again. We're gonna
go against the direction of the points,
so
you don't catch the towel on that.
And you don't want to put a lot of pressure on those points, because you break one off. This is a nice desk ornament. You can score these on eBay from time to time. There are parts hoarders that do hoard.
Right, they got a
real assemblies.
Part to do game out. Sometimes you can come across parts you need.
Every now and then I hear somebody's parting a game out, and I'm like, how much were the score reels? Some people don't want them for some reason. I like collecting score reels, because you never know when you need that one little part, and I have needed that one little part before. Yep,
a friend of mine has a couple of kind of junker EMs for that very reason, that he's just, over the years, he gets a game that he wants to restore, and I think I had it happen, I got a Sonic Prospector.
Yeah.
And the one of the steppers, the coil locked on, one of the coils, and the lever arm, which would be the longer one. So they used plastic on Sonic games.
Some Williams games use them too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when that heated up, it heated up the plunger, and then it melted the plastic arm. And so, he had this old Williams game. I forget which one it was, but essentially he had the exact same mechanism, but it had a metal. It had the metal arms like this, but otherwise it was exactly the same. So I took that thing out and took the parts that I needed, and but yeah, you can usually find parts for EMs fairly easily.
Oh yeah.
So just because they made thousands of them.
Now we're going with the Novus one. This will do the same thing. Let's go around in a circle, start with 0. Keep going around. I posted this video up on YouTube, and I shared it with some groups, and some people are like, oh, you're just destroying that. And I'm like, did you watch the video? Did you see all the numbers come off? Did you see any of that? Did you see when I was done how it was perfectly shiny? You're destroying them. I'm like, how is this destroyed?
Right.
The numbers are intact. It looks brand new, like a new NOS part. It looks like it just came out of the box.
Right. Because they probably had a bad experience with like a Bally one.
Yeah.
And they rubbed off the numbers, and so now they think that all EMs are like that.
Yep, exactly. And I did this with a spare I had. I had spare score reels, and I'm like, there's got to be a really good way to clean these, because when I do my shop jobs, I like when you pop the back off and you look at everything, you can see how clean everything is.
Yep.
And this is going to look brand new.
That's not a bad practice either if you're not confident in the method that that you've done before, or a cleaner or something. I say this with like playfield restoration. If you're gonna try your hand at painting something, I didn't start out on a game that I had playing. I got a junker playfield from a friend, and I practiced, and I did that a couple of times before I was confident enough to do it on a game that I was gonna keep in my collection. So if it makes you nervous, get a score reel or two off of eBay and practice on it before you go and go crazy on your game.
Now this is just the last step. This is a clean towel, and I'm just buffing it right now. As you can probably see that there's some high shine to it right now. Just the reflections off my lights. And this looks basically like a brand new part with a couple little blobs of dirt that I can't get out, like right on there. But I really, really wanted to. I could Q-tip out and clean now. But the piece is going to go through there, and it's going to hide that dirt anyways. But this is the big part right here. You get this like this, and just hold it kind of tight, but not real tight. And just keep spinning it like this. It's going to warm up just a little bit in your hand. This is your polish. Like I said, this is just a clean, dry towel. There you go.
It's pretty awesome.
You see that shine? All the numbers, you can see my fluorescent lights in it. And you've seen what it looked like before.
Yep.
That looks like brand new.
That's awesome.
Score reel.
So, I just thinking for myself, I might go in like with a toothbrush or something on the inside.
Yeah.
And I might even be daring enough to try, like, so we take this mech off. I've had okay luck with like plastics on an ultrasonic where, not for a long time, I'm talking like seconds.
Yeah.
Where I could, just dunk it in for a second.
Yeah, it might survive. if you get spares
right.
that are kind of beat up or chipped and stuff like that, it would be
Right.
worth a try.
Yeah, I might try it with a Williams one that has the smooth numbers like this, but I definitely wouldn't try it with the Bally ones. I mean, you get those wet with water and they start running.
So I can tell you one thing: after you do a Williams Grand Prix, you're left with blisters on your hands from this. Just from holding it like that and spinning it.
Sure.
But that thing's smooth like butter again.
Awesome. And what do you do with the? Do you do anything with the dummy score reels?
You can just wipe it off with a little
similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just wipe it and you can polish it. Usually, that you don't have to polish too much, but yeah, you can put a little Novus on there and go over it.
Okay.
And give that a little polish. But those I usually never take out. I'll just wipe them off from here, and then when I stand the machine back up, then I'll wipe them off from the other side.
Okay. So what do we want to do at this point? Do we wait for...
That thing should be done.
Okay.
So I'm going to take that out, rinse it off, dry it off real quick.
Okay.
If you want to...
Yep, I'm going to clean those switches quick. And then we should be ready to put it back together. Need some Q-tips. Alcohol. This will be a little easier because it is already out of the mech. I don't have anything in the way. The switch ladder. Yeah, these are pretty filthy. It's always the 10 point or the whatever the lowest score reel is gets the dirtiest because it actuates more than any other score reel in the game. So if you're only going to touch one score reel at all, that would be the one that I would go after. And it's likely the one that has the coils on them that have heated up. So I guess it would be this one. No wait. No, I'm sorry. This is the most used one. Turned around.
Throw those little pieces in there. Put that orange in.
Okay. There's that one. I'll follow up with another swab of alcohol through the switch blades.
Yeah, I forgot to put those other little pieces in there. But that's all clean.
Sweet.
These are all dry.
Alright. This one is pretty filthy. Not so much on the switch, but on the bake plate.
I had Q-tips here if you need any too.
Okay.
I love Q-tips for cleaning these machines.
They're cheap.
And they get where you can't get.
Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be doing any restoration, ultrasonic cleaner is, in my opinion, a must. You can get bigger versions. The two that I have, I got off of eBay, and there's different sizes. I think you got yours at Harbor Freight, right?
Yes.
So it's a smaller version, but it does the job. You put smaller parts and pieces in there, but the reason I have two is for that exact reason. Is because I have a smaller one because it heats up a lot faster.
Yeah.
And I can, most of the time I'm using that one. The only time I really use the big one is for like large mechanisms.
Yeah.
So I don't fire that one up very often. But yeah, because it probably takes to get fully heated up. I'm talking at least an hour, hour and a half to get it all heated up. So.
But yeah, I think if my Harbor Freight one ever decided to die, I would definitely be getting a bigger one. The reason why it just you can put more stuff in it at one time. Mm-hmm. And then the bigger ones, they usually got a drain valve on them too. Has yours got that?
Yep. Yeah. So there's a little ball valve on the side that you can just turn that.
Now mine, I gotta pick up the whole thing and dump it over there.
Yep.
The bigger one, you can just scoot over the side of the thing and just dump it into a bucket or something.
Yep. So it's kind of handy. Nice.
So those pieces should just be about done.
All right.
I wish I would have stuck them in there all together, but I'd probably split my mind.
Now, if you wanted to go even crazier, I suppose you could do some metal polish. But a lot of times, these come out of the cleaner pretty nice. But you might have a little bit of corrosion that you could take some steel wool and some metal polish and kind of shine that up even more. And then for labels, so what I have, I think I just got this off of, I think, Amazon or something. So you can get a label maker. It's very handy, and it's very common in EMs that labels fall off all the time, and it drives me mad that you can't see what it's supposed to be when you have several relays and that, and if they're not labeled properly, it makes for troubleshooting very difficult, because you're looking at the schematic, and the schematic it's not a map of the game. It's the theory how it functions, but it's not telling you exactly where that relay coil is in that particular game. And if you don't have good labels, then it's going to make it really hard to find that specific thing and that one switch that's supposed to be open and it's closed, or it's supposed to be closed and it's open, so basically I could reprint this and we could stick a new one on there if you wanted to, Mark.
That's up to you on that one.
Well, so this is a 10 to 90 unit.
I've been meaning to get one of those just to label all my boxes so I don't have to keep looking at them. But yeah, that's perfect for these because you get a lot of these that fall off. You find them in the bottom of the cabinet.
I'm guessing, I don't know, it's on 16 point. We can see what it looks like. Might be too big. Well, it's about right.
That'll work.
I just need to trim off the ends, and there you go. So do you I was talking about like metal polish on.
Yeah.
Do you
No.
go that far?
No.
I mean, it's pretty shiny right now.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing like a restoration or anything like that. I'm just doing a mechanical refurb.
Do you want me to take off the old label? Or no?
If it will stick over it and hang on to it, I don't see why not.
Just leave it?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, these are handy to have if you can identify what it is. Because yeah, once you stick this thing in the ultrasonic cleaner, your label writing is pretty well gone.
Yeah.
So, but now you'll know exactly what it is. There we go. Shiny.
That's all clean. Now we're going to start putting it back together. And my clothes are dry. That's good. Usually I never really find these bad.
I don't think there's not a whole lot of power there on those coils. I mean, it's kind of a light duty coil.
Yeah.
So we got this switch stack here that needs to get put back in. That's going. Let me take these out first. Where do you want to put the pieces on this before I attach that?
We could probably do that.
Yeah, I'll probably put the
we
pieces.
won't have to have all
put
the
this
wire
on
in.
last. Take this out. This is definitely more than I've ever done for square wheels. Usually I'll just wipe like the outside, you know, if they got some nicotine stains or whatever, and I'll free it up. But I mean, because it takes that much more time to take it all apart like this.
Yeah.
But if you really want them to look nice and brand new, it's what you have to do. So, and you know, if this is a single player EM, so there's not that many. But when you're talking a 4-player, you're going to be working on score reels for a long time.
Yes. Oh yes, you will. So yeah, my Grand Prix, I took a break on that one. So I just couldn't anymore. You just get to the point where you're like, I'm done. I am done. I cannot do this anymore. But yeah, that's how it goes though. Alright, that. Let me get my clean these off too. So now we had to take pictures again. Even though I've done these a billion times, you still need to take your pictures. So I forgot where the other spring goes. But I think I just remembered.
Well, we have other reels to look at, so.
I just can't remember which hole it's going to go into. This one. I believe it's going to go into that one. And springs too. A lot of times they'll be colored. When you throw them in an ultrasonic cleaner, don't expect your color to be there. So try to remember what was what for the springs.
Springs have colors?
Yeah. Like some of these.
Oh, here's some red ones. Yep.
Yeah. Some of these in the steppers, you'll have one that's like a big red one. And then that color just disappears.
I think I've seen red and green, green and silver, I think.
Yes. And when you're cleaning those, all of a sudden you just thought you cut yourself. I did that the other day when I was working on a Williams. I thought I cut my hand open, and it was just red dye off the thing getting all over my fingers. So this one we're gonna, I guess I could probably put this back on. Or would it be easier? I guess it doesn't really matter.
No.
So like I said, we got that nub right there. That's right where my finger is. And then where's it? Right here. The other one is right here on the gear. So that means this is going to line up right like that.
You got 3 screws.
Yep. Take my washer, clean it off real quick. These you don't have to oil either.
But there was oil on it before.
Yeah, that's probably for somebody because they weren't working that good. So we will throw some oil on them to make them work better, which does happen. At Chicago Coin I just did, everything was oiled. All the sleeves, all the plungers, every part had oil on it.
And it'll get it working for a short time.
Yes.
But eventually that oil solidifies, and because you get that coil dust that we just cleaned off, that gets in, it attracts the dust.
Yep.
And it gets all over it, and then it will gum it up. So the person that thinks that they're doing good by putting, like, oh, I just freed it up and everything's working again, great. Well, you know, give it a few hundred plays later, and all that dust attracts to it, and then it starts gumming up again, and you cause more problems than you fixed.
Yeah. Now once we get this back together all the way, we will have this fully working. I got that off on the wrong spot. I gotta loosen this back up now. I didn't have my little lever underneath. Put it in the wrong spot. There we go. That's why it wouldn't spin. I'll show you when I flip this over. You can see that there. It's a cam system. Right in here, you can see this lever, and it goes into this gear, and that causes the cam, which moves this lever up and down when you get into your positions, and that's what also tells the machine if it's on 0, 9, or the other numbers.
Right, because the machine really doesn't care about the other numbers. It's all about 0 and 9.
Yeah.
Says in the 0 position, they'll be all open, and then 9 I think is
too close
all
open
closed
or something
like that.
Yeah, something.
And then when it's just going through all of them, I think it's like one switch or that's just always closed. So
this, we're going to sit down like that, so we want to get the coil situated in the right spot. You're going to go like that, and then the switches like this in here. This is going to go like that.
that's kind of it's just a standoff kind of thing.
And these went right here. Here.
There we go.
Yeah.
Screws. Here's the big ones. Get that started here. Maybe. Not quite lined up.
I'll hold it and you can move it around.
Might need your screwdriver. There we go. There we go. Get the other one in there. There we go. You ever got one of those screwdrivers with like the little fingers that hold screws?
Yeah, I have. I think I got a flathead one in my toolbox where it like wedges them so they don't pop off. Then I got my little magnetizer too. I think they use them for carburetors a lot. Oops, bumped the camera. This one's got a cam on it. And it gives a little twist. See how that middle turns? And it will lock onto the screw. So like if you got to stick it like way into something, I think I got this from a carb guy.
Wow.
But yeah,
I've never seen one like that.
Yeah, it locks the screw. I have not used it yet for a pinball, but it's in my toolbox just in case I ever do need it. But I think there's different type of ones for Phillips that grab around it, and as you screw it down, it pushes it back off. Just so you can, hook onto it, get it threaded, and then it's got really no purpose after that.
Sure. I think I'm putting this in the right way here.
Yeah, well, glad you're getting back into gear on getting your machine. It can be frustrating working on EMs. Like this casino, it got to the point where 2 or 3 times it was getting parted out, just because it frustrated me so much on trying to get everything to work right on it, because I kept having this ball issue, which I caused. When I go through all my relays and stuff like that, I always test them as I'm doing them. Once I'm done with a stack, I test that stack to make sure they all open and then they all close. So theoretically, when I put the machine back together and start it up, it should run pretty perfect, except for maybe there's like a playfield switch that's stuck or something like that. But with this casino, what I did was, on accident, was I needed to do the playfield. That I had the lucky ace in my jig for playfield, and I had junk inside lucky ace and on top of it. So what I figured, I pulled the casino board out and I put it on the floor. I grabbed the lucky ace playfield off my jig and set it inside the casino machine. And when I did that, part of the lucky ace playfield went down and crushed my relay bank on the casino. And I didn't know that it bent contacts all the way to the bottom of the stack. So then when I put the game back together, it fired up and worked great, except for when you would go on your first ball, it would go through your trough switch, because there's 2 trough switches. There's the eject switch, there's a trough switch in the middle, which actually changes ball number, and then there's the switch in front of the plunger. So it hit that first ball switch, the trough switch, and it would deduct 1 ball. It hit the plunger switch and it would deduct 2 balls, and then when it would get up in a saucer, it would deduct 3 balls, and then if it bounced around enough, and you ejected a ball, you would lose a ball, and then it would go through the trough switch again and deduct another ball, and game over would be as soon as the ball got right to the plunger. So that was one of those games where it totally freaked me out, like what? And then it was to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to part this thing out because I can't figure it out. So therefore I had to tear apart the whole machine to fix my one mistake that I didn't know I did that bad. You ever have anything weird like that, Dave?
Yep. I've done that more than a few times. Just you think you got everything.
Yeah.
And you overlook something. But I mean, that's how you learn too. I mean, you pull your hair out trying to figure out the thing, like, oh, this was working before.
Yeah.
And many curse words later, and studying the schematic and going through everything again, it makes you think about, you start to have this like meticulous way of how you go through the game and make sure that you got everything, because eventually you get to that point where if you have that method and it works for you, it should be like you said. You fire the thing back up, and it's maybe a couple of things that you need to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
Nothing major, but it does happen.
Yeah.
So, all right, I gotta put this switch back on, and then we should be all set.
Do you want me to hold that or anything, or?
Going this way. In through this way.
Is it through that way?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, just like that.
What am I doing? It's this way. But yeah, it's gonna come down here, I think.
You know, they're fun.
There.
There we go.
Get this lined up.
Yeah, so yeah, I have a method with mine. Usually I tear apart the head.
Do that first?
Yep, to get the head, because I hate square reels.
Mm.
I'm good at them, but I hate them. You know, everybody's got one thing they hate on their machine to do, and mine is square reels. I like rebuilding and everything, but you can see how much time it takes just to clean them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let's get rid of that first. I fully get rid of that. Then I take the head. Once it's done, I put it back on the machine, and then I fire the machine up. Just verify all the score reels are resetting. Because I put them all on different weird numbers. And then I hit the start button. Okay, they all reset, and I let no smoke out. Next thing to do, let's pull the playfield off and get at the relay motor board and work on that. And then usually it's the last with the playfield. But the casino, I did that in spots because I had to wait for parts to get different parts. And then you waited on this, so then I took this apart, and then I did this, and then I took that apart. Because that I had to completely update all the pop bumpers.
Need just a different bit.
Just pull the whole thing out.
No.
Oh.
Oh. Yes. There we go.
Each one of those is a socket now.
Yep.
I didn't know that for like the longest time.
I just as I was pulling up here, I had an American Pinball owner ask me about that. He sent me a picture. It was like, what size is this? It's like, well, if you take the bit out of your multi-screwdriver, that's a 1/4-inch nut driver.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go out and get a whole big set. And I just did a video on basic tools that you would need. Say you were getting your first pinball machine, and so I talked about a switch adjustment tool, multimeter, multi-screwdriver. Like, really, you can do a lot of stuff with a multi-screwdriver.
Yes.
There's all kinds of different bits you can get, but honestly, most of the screws that you're going to have in there are going to be a 1/4-inch or 5/16, and then obviously Phillips heads. Gottlieb, for some reason, love to use flat heads, which is terrible. But,
yes. Chicago Coin's got a blend of them.
Yeah, so there's a handful of tools. A lot of times people have them in their toolbox already, but it's just a select few things like switch adjustment tool. I did not put this on the list because I was talking about modern games. Yeah. But if I was talking about EM repair, I would put this at the top.
Yeah.
Not that you could use like a flex file or whatever, but this is a lot faster. But yeah, so it's important to have the correct tool for the job. So, do you want me to work on the rest of these?
Yeah, if you want.
So
start tearing them apart and
just go one
do
at a time.
your own reel and see how fun that is on your fingers. They're a lot nicer on the tiny reels.
Oh, we missed a piece. Missed one piece. it's right here. It's
yeah,
no
I
big
just
deal.
Back that screw out and put that on.
Yep.
But yeah, I save all these little weird things. That's why I got like buckets of things. So I just throw all my screws in there. So I put them on here before, and then I've knocked them down. But then I also put them in here before and knocked this down.
You know, another thing that I've been doing, so another Harbor Freight is the magnetic dishes.
Yep.
And I actually, my wife's grandpa, I was there doing some yard work or whatever, and I was tearing apart a fence and got all these nails in his yard. And I was like, "You got a magnet?" And he's an old TV repairman, and he's still kind of doing some of that. Anyway, he took the magnet off of a speaker.
Yes,
like, that was dismantled.
My dad did that when I was a kid.
So it's perfect for your tool bench because you know what's really cool about it is, so say you had, this is like a poor man's way of like keeping your screwdrivers magnetized tips.
Yeah.
You just set it on the speaker magnet and let it sit there. But it's also really handy if you're doing, I'm working on my game now, and I have same kind of thing, but I would take apart a pop bumper and I put the screws on that magnet in like little clusters.
Then they stay in a perfect little spot. They're not going to roll anywhere.
Right, exactly. I can't tell you how many times you're working on something, it gets kicked around, you know, if you drop it on the ground, and then you can never find the damn thing.
Yep. Yeah, we had a magnet that was probably about this big. It came off of some big loud horn speaker, and it was hollow through the middle. And we took like a twine rope, and my dad tied the twine rope onto it, and I would just go like this in the yard. Just go back and forth, because when they do the roof job, I just went back and forth like this. And every now and then just grab my hand, pull all the nails off, and just kept doing that over and over again for hours.
Oh yeah.
Till I didn't pick up any more nails.
Yep. Yeah, I think they have magnetic sweepers.
I have one of those.
We used to do that when when I was a kid. I used to do BB gun shooting, target shooting, and at the end of the class, they had like 4 or 5 of them. We just run around and you could pick them up and you could use them again.
Yeah, you could reuse them forever.
But yeah, so I think a zip tie instead of the tape here.
Yeah, just
looks a lot cleaner.
Yes, a little bit more professional. To zip tie. Nothing wrong with the electrical tape, but
no, I mean I'm sure it was.
Wonder what was on here originally from the factory.
You know, and you don't ever see zip ties. See that they got these like, they had ties, but they were actual like fiber ties that they put these bundles together, whereas today we would use the nylon cable ties, the zip ties. So maybe that wasn't a thing then, and so they used what they had. But yeah, these just, they get really gummy over time, and
I don't like them.
Don't work.
Gummy, sticky, fall apart. Just one more thing to be in the way.
I see this is, oh, never mind.
It's a little ding-donger. It'll have to get rebuilt too. Yeah, this is going to be a fun game to rebuild. A lot of little different things I've never done on a pinball. Just little other mechanisms. I think I'm going to get started with desoldering these while you're on that.
Oh, and this one's different here because it has...
It's got the plate.
It's got the plate.
Yep.
So this will have a set of contacts on the inside. So when I get this taken apart...
I'm going to get that basket too.
Yep.
It should be drip dry by now. So yeah, normally when I do the score reels, I tear every single one apart, and then I clean them all at one time and then do them. But since we're doing this on a stream, it's kind of nicer to go through all the little pieces, and that way everybody gets to see how it's going from the start to the finish.
Sure.
And this is going to be a good one too because we didn't do a board yet.
Right.
So,
I certainly can take them all apart if you wanted, but whatever.
yeah. Oh, that's the wrong one. Both ones. Okay, there we go.
Ooh.
We get both going now. Let me get rid of this chair. Oh, I'll put it right here. Like my camera holder.
Yeah, giant lead weight.
Yeah. You know what the story is behind those?
The
story is we built that shed in the backyard. And they had to dig down, like 6 or 7 inches because City of Brookfield wants a 6-inch slab for some reason for our shed.
Oh, I had to do that too.
Yeah. So they needed a 6-inch slab. So he dug down pretty far, and I knew this was coming, so I was like, it'd be really funny. I get some lead ingots, and I spray paint them gold. And then I throw them out in the yard, and I tell the guys that to grab my wife and said that they found some gold bars while they were digging up the yard. Well, she didn't believe one bit of it. She's like, if you found the gold bars in my backyard, I do not believe you would have told me about them.
Oh, sure.
She goes, I would have went outside and you guys would have been gone if you found gold bars. Or they would have been in your truck. You would have never showed me. So did my husband do this, or did you do it yourself? They're like, oh yeah, that was your husband. She goes, I knew it.
Yeah, I recently got a shed. Just before winter. Yeah, it was a huge hassle. The place that I live is very
yeah, that's how mine was too.
very much like the pitch of the roof needs to match.
Oh,
the color of the paint needs to match the house, like all this stuff, and then it needs to be like by committee, approved. You got to have all the plans,
Oh,
so
mine wasn't that bad.
it was pretty bad. So anyway, we finally get the thing done, and I posted a picture last night where my motive for it, the whole thing, was now I got a spot in the backyard where I can project a movie on the shed. I got the big side of the barn, and so now we have a nice little spot where you can have a fire pit, and dogs are in the backyard. The fenced in, and so
yeah. Ours, we had I bought a Menard shed. They sell these kits. Basically, they got these sheds in the back of Menards inside the building.
Yep.
And you just go whatever shed you like, go up to the counter and say, I want this shed. And they're like, okay, they print off this giant list of building materials. I thought I was getting like a kit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did get a kit, which it consisted of 8 pieces of plywood, 12 bundles of shingles, what do you call it?
Do they give you instructions?
24 2x4x8 and 10 2x4s x 10, and
wow.
so yeah, that was the kit I got.
Wow.
The only thing that came assembled were it's the framing for the floor, the sides, and the roof. That was one piece, and they had a metal plate in the middle of it, so it could fold in half. So what you would do is you'd fold these halves, and it would just be a beam that went across the floor, your stud that was in the side, and then your rafter studs.
Wow.
You unfolded that in half, and then you nailed a little hunk of wood so it stayed into one piece. And then you put those up, and then you had to put all your plywood up, cut all your plywood. And then the thing is, too, my shed's it comes with a wooden floor from Menards. So I had that 6-inch slab poured in, my beautiful slab in the backyard, just to cover it up with a wooden floor.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't alter the the plans.
Right. Yep.
To use the wood cement floor, so I got a nice slab with a wooden floor.
Yeah,
now.
mine's got a metal frame, so it's
Yeah.
like basically it'll never deteriorate because
Yeah.
it was designed to be put right on the ground.
Yeah.
But it's on a metal cement slab. Here's the coil sleeve on this one. You can see that it's worn all the way through. So
And that one's got a worn one.
that's not gonna ultrasonic that one.
No. Has the coil been damaged on that one?
The coil itself?
Yes. Or is it just the sleeves?
Just the sleeve.
Okay, good. All right. Otherwise, I'd have to put that on a list of things to buy.
Well, what you could do, so the plunger itself,
Yeah.
we could kind of round off the edge
Yeah.
of the plunger because it's rough. So after it's cleaned, we can do that.
Okay.
Now, let's see. I'm gonna take this piece.
If you guys can see me on the picture, I'm just desoldering the lugs off the lights for
And I took-
top bumpers.
You that's right. I took off all the springs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one you can actually leave on if it's the giant one.
Okay.
But if you took it off, you took it off. It don't matter.
No, it's fine.
I usually take them off, but if it wants to stay on, I'm like, okay, you can stay on then.
Oh, I see. Okay. Work.
So during this stream, you're going to see a lot of extra parts go on this straight flush that normally I do not put on. The reason why is this guy wants this machine to look really, really super good. So I'll be replacing like the pop-up covers. Normally I never replace them.
The caps.
Yeah, but he's like, Cadillac it for me. So I'm like, all right. So I told him what it would be, and he's like, yeah, that's fine. We'll do that.
I typically, if they're burnt, I
Yeah.
will replace them, and it doesn't make sense. If you're gonna replace one, you need to replace them all.
Yeah, you cannot replace one, just like with pop bumper bodies. If one is cracked, you cannot put one brand new one on there and leave 4 old ones.
Right. They just won't look right.
Yep. Same with skirts too. You can't do that with skirts either.
Right.
You have to do every single one.
So there we go. I mean, this thing is pretty filthy.
Oh yeah.
And so while the thing is ultrasonic cleaning, I'll clean up this board and I'll go through and do the switches the same as before. So the only extra step really is cleaning this up. So, and what I like to do is take these little, whenever possible, I put the screws back in the same hole so I know where it goes. As we talked about before, if you had a magnet or whatever, but I'll just do that. And this is the other horseshoe contacts that glide on that little, I don't know if you call it a circuit board, but the contact board. So that'll have to get cleaned up and tensioned.
You got these little desoldered so I can start pulling them out. That's the fun part, because I have this on top of the playfield, so I got to reach underneath and pull each one out. And this one's also getting 2 new pop bumper rings too. Well, these have been replaced at one time.
Did you ultrasonic the screws and stuff? These little ones?
No, because they'll fall through there and
Right.
But what you can do for screws is you can take them and put them in like a little baby food jar with the cleaner,
Right.
and just set them right in there, and the ultrasonic goes right through them.
Right. That's a good tip. Yep.
But those, yeah, I'll just wipe. I got naps or alcohol, and they can just get wiped up, or the wet towel with
Sure.
Glass cleaner. We'll clean them right off.
Okay.
So we got all these pieces, so I'll throw them all in there.
Alright, so I'll start the same method that Mark was doing and clean this up. As you can see, we're starting. The thing is pretty filthy.
In my pop bumper bodies too, the bottoms of them, like these plastics right here, these I will throw in an ultrasonic cleaner too.
Oh yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah. I'll throw that in there. But this body, as you can see, it's got a crack right in there. So that's garbage. But yeah, you cannot replace just this one body with a brand new one and then have 4 more old ones there. It will not look good.
Well, and with the heat on the plastic,
yep.
I'm sure over time it makes it brittle. So it makes a heck of a lot of sense to get a crisp new one. I've gotten away with like the pop bumper bases are typically fine. I can reuse those. The springs are usually fine. And then like the metal rings, I can I'll tumble those and shine them up.
Yeah, I gotta replace 2 rings on this machine.
Oh, they broke?
Yeah. Each ring has 1 broken stud on it.
Okay. You mean like the weld, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've never had that before.
The other place that I see them fail is that
right there.
rivet or the spot weld, or how they different manufacturers attach them differently to the ring itself.
Yeah.
And so I haven't seen too many fail like that.
No. Oh, there we go, camera.
Okay.
Yeah, I bumped it. And it turned on me. Okay, where's the last one?
But yeah, the ones that I was just doing for an early Stern electronics, they were attached to the ring with a nylon lock nut, and it's kind of good that way, because I guess you could technically take apart the whole thing.
This is a new one for me. This. Before I pulled this out of the machine, I was like that.
Is that a weight? What is that?
It's like a rubber washer.
Why?
I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, it was just right here. When I looked at it, I'm like, what's that black thing?
Is it on all of them?
No, just this one.
Yeah,
it was just right underneath that, right on the post. You can see how clean it is.
Uh-huh.
It was just sitting up there, right. So this was just going like that on up the play field.
That doesn't need to be there.
No.
I don't know what
I don't
that
know.
is.
It's some type of plumbing washer.
Yeah, that sounds like something that one of the previous owners did.
Yeah. So it had to be the guy who did the original shop on this after it was routed.
I wonder why you're like putting something on there that doesn't need.
Yeah.
Isn't supposed to be there.
Because this game has been owned by the same person since, I think he said 77. So this game went on route. After it went on route, then another person bought it and they shopped them all out and then they sold them. So this game he bought off that guy, and it's just been in his family forever. And it decided, some things not to work on it anymore and decided to break. So
you'd think that would just get in the way of that pop bumper's skirt shaft of moving. Just inhibits movement.
Yeah, so I'm guessing this pop bumper was a little more dead than the other ones. But yeah, it will get its day to be fixed. And these pop bumper bodies are garbage. I need my little screwdriver if you could hand it to me. These are always fun to get off too. Sometimes you think these things are glued on because they just been on there forever, and then they break, and then they come off. I'll show you. You will have pieces stuck in this hole and this hole from the pop bumper body here, because these will just break off sometimes. I've had them before where I had to pull them out with a pick. But that's always fun. Oh, that dust. These dust on these games kill me after a while. And these skirts, they look alright, but I'm still replacing them. And this is good, and that's garbage. And the bulbs I save. The reason why I save the bulbs, oh, that's a 47, that doesn't need to be saved. I saved a 44 bulbs. There's a couple collectors that had asked me to save all 44 bulbs for them.
Why?
Because they swear that the old 44 bulbs work better than any other bulb.
They're brighter. A little brighter.
And
if they're hot, they run hotter.
Yeah. So they're like, can you save those for me? I'm like, okay. Well, here's an example.
I have a giant,
yeah.
You know the protein powder
Yeah.
jugs? Like one of those big giant jugs. I have a whole jug filled with
Yeah.
old bulbs. It's like once in a while I'll get a game where I don't. You just to LED a whole game gets pretty expensive, and if it's a game that you just want to replace a few bulbs and move it along, that's why I save them. And
okay. What T-shirts are you asking about? Jag Daniels. I think that's it. My vision is bad with these glasses. I need to get new ones. Jag Daniels. I think that's how you say it. Did you were looking about MGC shirts or this really awesome TurboGrafx 7 Twitch TV channel shirt that I'm wearing that Dave gave me?
yeah, those are the newest ones. The ones that we had before didn't have the URL at the bottom.
And if you guys aren't following Dave's channel, Dave and Brian's channel, go follow that too, which is TurboGrafx 7 on Twitch. You also have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I've been posting, there's a TurboGrafx 7 YouTube, where I'll post, I just posted two videos in the last couple days, both of Technoplay games. Oh yeah. Which are a very rare, it's like the end of the Zaccaria production, and so our friend Neo Skywalker in Burlington had all three of their production games, and so we went and documented those. So I did all the editing. I have one more game to do yet, the Scramble one, but yeah, so if it's like sort of an archive of videos, and then I'll put some repair type videos up there, and then we also have a Facebook group, which I'm posting basically non-gameplay stuff. So I'm working on a Stargazer scratch build right now, and going through and putting a wiring harness on there, and so just kind of documenting some of those steps. And then for my day job, I do sort of tech tip videos for American Pinball, which those are on the American Pinball's YouTube page. So I try to come out with a new video just about every week has been the frequency. It just depends on what's going on during the week. So alright, I did the kind of clean here. So which rag was the Novus 2? The yellow one, I think.
Red one, I think.
The red one? Okay. The red one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell by the dirt.
Okay.
And then the orange one was the buff one.
Okay. Yellow is Novus 1.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, that's the trick, is keeping them separated. You don't want to contaminate one with the other one when you're doing your final steps.
Right.
But yeah, that's fun to do. About you're gonna feel it in your hands, but it's worth it in the end, because you'll never have to mess with that that reel again. That's, you'll have to maybe just like a light dust it later on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be perfect forever. Now these skirts, sometimes if these skirts come out, I usually ultrasonic clean them. And the reason why I do that is because, one, I like them to look pretty, but two, I do save used skirts for some odd reason. So I'm going to ultrasonic clean these, and if they do come out absolutely 100% perfect, I save them, because sometimes I had one guy where he didn't want any new shiny parts put on his machine. He wanted the originals, and he had a couple chipped skirts. So what I did was I took some off my machine, because I was going to rebuild the pop bumpers anyways, and I used my old skirts for his machine. Because he didn't want that brand new shiny look.
I was just listening. So there's a podcast I was just listening to. I think it was like Pinball Restorers podcast.
Yeah.
And they interviewed Todd Tuckey. It's a guy out of Minnesota, I think, puts it on. Anyway, he was interviewing him, and Todd talked about a similar customer where he wanted all original stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, comparing it to classic cars, like, do you want the original oil that came in it?
Yeah.
The original tires that came on it? Like, how extreme do you want to get?
Yep.
You got to think you want the original rubbers that came on this?
Yeah.
So
but yeah, it's crazy.
It's a consumable part. It's a wear part.
Yeah.
It's meant to be changed, and if it's broken, it's broken. You know. So I don't know. White ones, they don't seem to come out. I mean, they're always like yellow.
Yeah.
Like I've had pretty good luck with, if they're already a colored plastic, like a yellow or red or blue. Typically, those will clean up pretty well, but the white ones are always kind of yellowed, and they'll never be as crisp as a brand new one.
Yeah. But yep. So I said I had to replace them, and I told him, I have to replace all of them. And he goes, "Are they all gonna?" I showed him a picture, and he was like, "You got any like faded ones?" I'm like, "Well, I have to do a job on my one machine, so I could probably take them off there."
Maybe if they want, they're attracted to that.
They don't want nothing to replace it unless it needed to be.
Huh.
So and the other pop bumpers, the skirts didn't need to be repaired because they were in good shape.
Do you think it was just like a money thing? Like he didn't want to spend the money on it?
No, because I said I normally put 44 bulbs. I mean, I'm 47 bulbs in machines. And he's like, "What's the difference?" I'm like, "Well, they came factory with the 40. We'll put the 44s back in them." I said, but the reason why I do that is because the 47s run a little cooler. I said, they're just a little bit bright, but they save your plastics. And he goes, "Well, it came with 44s, so can you put those back in?" I'm like, "Yes, I'll put them all back in. I'll put all brand new 44s in your machine then."
That's crazy.
So yeah, just wanted a factory, and I said normally I put LEDs in the pop bumpers. He's like, "No, put those back in there too." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, I'm not charging any extra for the LED and the pop bumpers. That's just something I normally, do, because I don't want the pop bumpers, to get destroyed later on. He goes, "No, just put the regular factory bulbs back in there." So I did.
Huh. Well, and I'm not
argue with them,
Sure, I'm not a purist in that way. I will put. I have all kinds of LEDs, and I'm a believer in them. They last quite a long time.
Yeah.
You can get them in all different colors. Typically, I just have a huge stockpile of white for most of my stuff, and I'll use color for like a select few places. But you know, I think especially EM guys, they kind of touchy about, you know, putting any LEDs in them at all. I suppose it takes away some of that hue, that, you know, kind of that old style look. But you can get, you know, warm whites that you know look pretty nice. Or if you really wanted to be purist, you could put incandescents in your general illumination to make it look that way, but then you could make your inserts really pop by putting some LEDs on the, you know, on the underside.
Yeah.
So
yeah, whatever I have told people too, or everything you can see. If you can see the bulb, put an old school bulb in there. Whatever is hidden, put a warm right frosted LED.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna have a perfect looking game every time. I said everything underneath, LED, everything. Just use warm white bulbs and everything underneath all the inserts and stuff. You're not gonna know the difference, but your inserts are gonna know the difference and they're gonna love it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Wind Raider, thanks for joining us. What's going on?
Hello.
Did you answer Jag Daniels about how to get the T-shirt?
Yeah, I asked him which shirts was he asking about.
Well, it's like.
Yes, the LEDs come a long, long, long way from when they were first released. When they first came out, you could tell they were LEDs. Now with the technology, it's hard to tell an LED from a regular bulb if you put it in the right spot. Especially those retro SMDs that Comet sell. I put them in machines and they got almost exact glow. I wish they could make them just a little dimmer and they'd be perfect. Like the ones with the clear lenses, if they could make those just a little dimmer, I think they'd be perfect. But they got the exact same length and everything. I love those bulbs. But then CoinTaker makes them too. Pinball Life has their own.
Well, they buy them.
Yeah.
They all come from China.
Yeah.
Suppliers, but yeah.
And then some people love those China bulbs because they can get 100 for a couple bucks.
Sure.
But they take 3 months to get here.
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times where I've ordered them direct, and you know, it just depends on how many you're getting.
Yep.
You know, if you're just getting like a couple hundred, it probably doesn't make sense for you. Just go to Comet and buy those.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to get thousands of them, you know, you might be able to save quite a bit. But I've shopped it out before, compared it, and honestly, like if you get in on Comet's like Black Friday sale, which I do every year, it's priced pretty competitively.
And then you get a couple free things.
Right. And I can get the different colors and things that I want to get. So I've met Ryan Wagner in person before when I took a trip to Boulder, Colorado for work. Anyway, nice guy. I'm a big fan of the business, and so I support them. So. But you can buy your bulbs from whoever you want to. We're not shills for Comet. I just talk about places where I get stuff. So if you have your favorite,
it's like some people don't go to PBR. Some people go to Marco. Some people don't go to Marco. Some people go to Pinball Life.
I can see that because PBR, it's like he has his process, which is not.
It's 1986 or something like that.
It's not very
pre-internet.
Yeah, it's not very user friendly, and I get that.
But I think it works for him because if he took credit card orders over his website, I think
You
he
pay
would have
fees.
to
Yeah.
hire so many more people to process everything. I think
Yeah.
he likes keeping that tight little group
Sure.
just for that purpose.
Sure. And I think once you have an account set up, um, it's not that big a deal. I make
Yeah.
my parts list. I email it. I don't think I've ever called. Maybe a couple of
I
times.
called one time, well, 2 times.
Yeah, I'll never do that again.
You're on the phone for a while, and you might be getting scolded too.
You're right. But so typically I just email and like if I put something on there that they don't have, they'll just say so.
Yeah.
Or they'll
Substitute.
substitute something. But for the most part, that's the easiest way.
Yeah. Now at casino, I specifically called them because I wanted to talk to Steve about the casino, and which was awesome is if anybody has worked on a Chicago coin, you know they got the oddest pop bumper skirts. It's a long shaft, just like a regular pop bumper skirt. It's a little bit shorter, but then it's got a big knob on the bottom of it, which rides into a weird spoon. And you cannot get those anymore. So if you are rebuilding Chicago coin pop bumpers, you have to upgrade them. You get yourself some Gottlieb EM switches, and then you can use the other skirts, and they just work beautiful. And that's what I did.
Did I pass?
It looks like it so far.
I didn't know how crazy you wanted me to get on the inside.
Yeah, that looks good. It does the job.
Okay.
It does
So
the job.
you know, I noticed on here it's got a stamping, which I'm pretty sure I know this logo because I've looked them up before. It's Foremost Plastics of Chicago, and they make a lot of the plastic parts that you see in pinball machines today. A lot of your inserts, your plastic domes, flipper bats, you name it. They make all kinds of plastic parts for pinball, and it's pretty neat to see that they've been in business for such a long time. I mean, what year is this game? 72
or something like that.
Yeah.
I forgot to put in my thing for. I'm giving away tickets for MGC. I totally should have put this in the beginning. I think I'm going to run this sweepstakes next week because it's just so late in the end of the day. I'm going to leave this link open to the first. There's 2 links. It looks like it's one big one, but there's 2. The first link is the instructions to win the tickets, and the second link is the video you need to go to and do what that video says. But quick question: you need to clean your meteor drop targets. What do you suggest to use once they're disassembled? I'm guessing glass cleaner. What would you use?
Like the targets themselves?
Yeah.
So Meteor in particular.
I'm gonna get those parts.
Meteor in particular has what's called tombstone drop targets, and Pinball Resource does make the tombstone version, which honestly, so in my experience with drop targets, you could probably just clean them up. And if you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, you can just basically use another product that I like for cleaning is called Crud Cutter, and it's one of my favorites. I use it on pinball cabinets to get the nicotine stains and stuff off. But you can spray your drop targets with that and kind of scrub them with a toothbrush, clean it that way. But likely the screen printing on your drop targets might come off. They do have decals that you can replace those. But the other thing is drop targets themselves. Over time, the plastic gets brittle. So if you have like 1 or 2 broken drop targets on your game currently, if you were to just replace those broken ones, one, the plastic isn't going to match, and two, if they're already brittle, chances are when you go to play your game, you're going to have more that break because they're already brittle. I had this happen on my Fathom game, so I can attest that it happens. I replaced one with some used drop targets that I had, and it worked fine for a while, but eventually the ones that I didn't replace broke again. As far as like cleaning the mechanism itself, like the whole housing or the metal part, it just depends on how crazy you want to get with making that. I mean, do you want to get it super shined up or whatever? But I mean, if you're just talking about functionality, I mean, I just go and clean it up, and same kind of thing. You could use some crud cutter and clean the whole mech. What's critical on drop targets is the pivot joints. So making sure that those are clean, so it springs up and down without gumming up. And like I said earlier, I have a big ultrasonic cleaner where I take the whole mechanism and I dunk it in there, minus the coil, obviously, but yeah, Wind Raider PBR is a rite of passage for new pinball people. I've done it before. I've ordered 4. In fact, Ryan, the guy I stream with, he was getting some parts from, or he wanted some parts from PBR, but he didn't have an account, and so I just ordered it for him because I needed some stuff of my own, and it just makes that process a lot smoother if you already have your account set up.
This one spring was loose.
Yeah, Wind Raider, the pivot joints, clean those up, and then another thing that I found was pretty key to making those function right is the tension on the switch blades. So there's like the lever arm that comes down and hits the switch blade. Having that tensioned just right, and your springs need to have good tension on them to get your pop or your drop targets all the way down, because when you go and test it, they're 3-bank drop targets, so when you flick one of them down, it needs to have enough force to go all the way down and contact that switch. Otherwise, when you're playing the game, it's not going to register that one switch. So just making sure you dial that I don't know what you call it. It's kind of like a lever switch that it's got like a bump out thing that closes the contact. So
if you want to use them.
Oh, yep.
New favorite tool?
Yeah, and I used
Mothers.
I
got that over here. Apparently those are somebody else's favorite tool, because I went to go buy some at Menards, and all of them were gone.
The Scotch Braids?
Yeah. Every single one was gone. There wasn't one left.
I suppose Scotch Braid is a brand name, but the scuff pads.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't like using the generic ones because they just crumble. They just totally crumble.
Right. You said that last time.
So yeah, I just stay away from them. Otherwise, yeah, you just crumble a little junk all over, and I'm like, no. So I use them in the laundry tub.
There you go.
When I'm cleaning. That way, the crumbles just go right down the drain.
Yeah, and this one is well worn, because this is I believe the 10 unit, and you can see the grooves that were cut in this thing.
I had to replace one of those on a Gottlieb.
Okay.
It was actually, when I cleaned it, I'm like, well, this is weird looking. It had burn spots from the points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that happened from a stuck switch.
Mm-hmm.
Stuck switch burned the plate. So I had to go buy a brand new plate for the machine. So I'm like, well, we're not.
And does PBR have these?
Yes.
So I would think they made these in the thousands.
Yeah.
To.
They actually, I think they got reproduction ones now.
Yeah, and this one, when it comes out of the ultrasonic cleaner, you can see the contacts are worn down pretty hard on this one. You can actually see this one might need. Well, it actually wore through. See, there's holes here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure it'll still work, but
if we have issues, I'm gonna have to
replace it. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to keep look on that one. I might have some used ones. I'm gonna have to dig through my stash. I'm probably just gonna tell them it's gonna need a new one, because if it's gonna arc there, it's gonna arc there.
Well, one way, I mean, probably not the best method, but I've seen, like,
how bad are those grooves?
Pretty bad.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It might be just as easy because you got 3 wires that you got to solder on.
Yeah.
And
yeah, just put it back together, and then when I dig out my stash, I know I believe I have a couple assemblies with those on it, and I'll just swap them out.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just when is it gonna fail? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is it gonna last a year or?
So this is the number. Well, actually, no.
No.
Don't worry about it because it will work. It's got a pretty good groove in it, but the spots where there's holes,
they're not
the zero. So you've got 0,
okay,
and then you got your common, and then number 5. So none of those have worn through all the way quite yet. So it'll work. I think perhaps the tension on
was way too hard.
It was too hard and was digging into the in making a channel here.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's cleaned up now.
Now I got a stuck coil sleeve. I hate stuck coil sleeves. Oh, and I got a crusty coil.
So I'll move on.
Oh, it's loose. Good, thank you.
Move on to these switch stacks. Oh yeah, so Wind Raider, it's just not steel wool. We covered it the last time I was here, but it is a
3M pad.
Yep, where's the
Right here.
3M 3M pad. This is they come in different colors. I think there's gray is the lightest, and then this is the middle green, and then the hardest one is red. And Mark uses this one. It's also really good for cleaning. So not only those, I really like it for cleaning those like stepper units and those. I'm going to use that from now on, but also the Jones plugs.
Yes.
So you take a fresh one, and I think he covered this on the last stream, but you take a stiff fresh one and you can run it through the center of the Jones plug. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it kind of runs right through the center, and you can clean that up. I've also used that rotary tool.
Yeah, you can use that too.
And as Mark pointed out, there's really only a couple of spots on the Jones plug
That contact.
Right, that contact the female receiver. So, but yeah, super handy tool, and I think they'll last you quite a while.
Oh yeah. So I multi-purpose them because I used the really brand new ones to clean the Jones plugs, and then once they start getting a little beat, then they got a whole nother application that I use for like cleaning the like what you just did, the circuit board there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get even a little worse, then I use them for cleaning the plungers. And then it just gets to the point where they're just garbage.
They're just kind of falling apart.
So yeah, they get like 3 jobs to them.
Nice. Yeah, I actually first learned about those. I used to use them a lot in auto body. So I suppose I learned quite a few things. And that class that I had in high school ended up being pretty dang valuable to me later on for this, and just cosmetics, and knowing about buffing and polishing tools, and clear coating for restorations and stuff like that. It ended up being incredibly valuable for this hobby, if you really wanted to get into restoration. And so it's not really all that intimidating to me to tear a game apart and go after the playfield and make it look new again. But I suppose if you hadn't had any experience with some of that type of stuff, it can be a little bit daunting to know what things you're supposed to use, what chemicals you're supposed to use, tools you're supposed to use. It in acquiring all those things, it'd be daunting over time. But I mean, that's part of learning. You get in there, you learn it, try things, make mistakes.
This thing got heated up really good.
That's how you learn. What did they say? Like mistakes are the greatest teacher.
Yeah.
So like Mark's gonna be more careful putting playfield the bottom board back in the game.
Yes.
It's like, oh.
I never thought. I'm like, my playfield jig, it holds all playfields. Gottlieb, Chicago Coin, Williams. They all fit in there, and I'm thinking, well, a Williams playfield should fit in a casino. A Chicago Coin. So, well, it does fit in there, but that doesn't mean the playfield's not going to smash the relay board on another machine. So yeah, I found that out. So here, what I was doing was this metal sleeve. Can you guys see me? Yeah. This metal sleeve was stuck in here. Now this coil, it looks horrible. If you were doing a restoration, you'd want to replace it. However, I just ohm tested this coil, and there's nothing wrong with it. What happened is the pop bumper, it got stuck, and it got stuck for a while, and it melted this sleeve to the coil. But the coil is still good, so what I did is I took this long 9mm, is it a 9mm? Yeah, Craftsman socket, and it's the exact same thickness of the coil. And I put it in my vise, and I will just tap it down through, and then pop the old sleeve out. But this coil, it is still good. You don't have to replace it just because the sleeve was melted. And unless you can't get the sleeve out, then I replace the coil. But if you can get the sleeve out, you can always get a new sleeve in, and that's good. But yeah, it's crunchy, but it ohm tests perfect. So the coil should be perfect still to use. But it will go through its test when I play the game, and if it's bad, if it's doing weird things, then it's going to get replaced. But as of right now, it's ohming good, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work. You normally throw out something like that? Crunchy? I know a lot of people do.
Yeah, I mean...
It's working, though. That's my only thing.
Right, and I think...
If I was doing a restoration, it wouldn't go back in.
Sure, I mean... Yeah, you know, it depends on the person,
yeah.
right? So, you know, Pinball Resource, I think, is the cheapest place to buy coils. I think it's going to be like $10.
Yeah.
You know,
that's I think around what they are, depending on what you get.
So if you really wanted it, you know, to be like, you know, so your label wasn't charred and you know, your plastic isn't charred, then yeah, go ahead and replace it. But
it works.
To your point, yeah, put a new sleeve in it. It's fine. And the person that's getting it, like, they're probably not going to go inside the machine and like, oh my god, didn't replace this.
Yeah. I told them I replace everything that's bad on the machine. If it's bad, it's getting a new piece. If it's good, it doesn't need a new piece. So, yeah, they're testing good, but like I said, I'm going to do the good old beat on the game for a week test. And if it fails at all, or I don't like the way it performs, it will be garbage. But, yeah, that's how I do this stuff. But I know, like, a lot of people are like, well, that was stuck in, it's garbage. But then there's a lot of people, though, too, that rebuild their stuff. My pop bumpers or my flippers weren't that good. You know, they weren't working. They were not really strong, so I put new coils in. I'm like, well, your coils, there probably was nothing wrong with it. It was probably your adjustment of your EOS switch or something.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's probably what your problem was the whole time.
Yep. It's something that bothers me.
Yeah.
And a good example, like using early solid state. You know, people are like, well, I put in all brand new boards. I bought all these brand new boards. Why aren't things working? Did you repin the connectors? Well, no.
Yeah.
It's like, then you don't need to be on. It's like, do that first.
Yep.
And you know, it's just crazy. You know, similar with EMs. You know, like, are your steppers all gummed up?
Yeah.
Well, it's never going to work, right?
Yes. I just had a discussion last night at the MGC warehouse. We were working on games, and a friend and I were working on a Spanish Eyes, and it's this Spanish Eyes is just had so many nightmares in the game with weird stuff that put it this way. When you start the game up and it goes through the player reset, the knocker would fire.
Oh.
They wired the knocker right up to one of the Jones plugs on the board. So it would knock 3 times, because the cam goes around 6 times. It would knock 3 times on the knocker, and then your game would start. But it wouldn't start with the coin door, because the coin door was hacked up. So he fixed the coin door, but then he finally got the game to work good, and it was working decent. But when you would get all the targets on Spanish Eye that you needed, it would deduct the ball, and then the out hole would fire to give you the ball back.
That's
so
funny.
Yeah, so we both agreed by the end of the night, just tear the board out of the machine and just go through everything. You know, it got to that point where I'm like, yeah, just shop the game. Go do a full shop on it. You know, because you can chase that stuff for hours.
Yeah.
Hours and have one gummed up switch. Because he had one gummed up switch wouldn't let it start after he fixed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, you know, I've seen one, I think Clay Harrell has several videos where he talks about, like, You know, he goes through and systematically finds the thing that's not working right. But that's great if it was a game that he's already gone through.
Yeah.
And everything was working when
Yes.
he like sold it to the person.
Yeah.
But if it's a game that was just, you know, sitting in somebody's garage for 30 years,
Yeah,
you're not going to systematically find the one thing that's wrong with it.
Nope,
you know.
that's how the Spanish Eyes was.
Yeah.
You could tell somebody something wasn't working, so they hacked up the machine to make it work.
Mm.
They bypassed stuff to get it to do what it needed to do. Because we were both like, why does it knock 3 times when you start a new game? And have we seen that they desoldered the wires from the knocker and put them right to the Jones plug on the board? It was kind of cool. You know, when you start the game up, it goes knock, knock, knock right away. It was interesting.
People do funny stuff when they're trying to make it like free play or something like that. Mark, I might need your help to put this thing back together. Oh, and we might have to clean or you know what? I'll do this real quick. Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
But I think the sequence of things.
Putting them back together, yeah, that can like I said, if I don't sit there and look at my phone every time, like just before when I was putting it together, you could probably go back and look at the video, and I'm putting that plunger in. There's several ways. Mm-hmm. It's just because I haven't done one in a while. That doesn't mean I don't know how to do it.
Right.
It just means I forgot how it exactly goes. So yeah, if you go back and look at the video, you can see me spinning it around several times before I figured where oh, that's my my ohm tester, that blue garbage can right there.
Oh.
I was ohm testing the coil. It just shut off.
Okay. I was gonna say here's another tool that I'll gladly steal the advice from Nick Shell at the Roanoke Pinball Museum.
Yeah, he posted those up a while ago, and I bought a whole box of them.
Oh, okay. So
I forgot where I put them. So otherwise, I'd be using them.
Spinning flap wheel. It's another Dremel tool. So that I ended up getting. These are 80 grit, but this is a 120 that it's well used. It's almost done for, but basically same kind of thing, and which is why I like this cheapo one from Harbor Freight. Is you just push the button, you can easily change out the bit, so you just push and hold, and then you can get that out, and then change it quick. And then, so what I'm talking about is on this coil. So this is the 10 unit, so it gets a lot of use, and it's hitting this coil stop over and over. So over time, it starts to mushroom out this coil stop, and it creates a lip on the end. Same thing on the plunger itself. So the way that you can fix it is basically I need to take this edge off. Remember earlier I showed the sleeve. Over time it just wore a hole right in that sleeve. So, because it has a sharp edge on it. So what I'm going to do is take that sharp edge off. I'm just going to run this along the edge and kind of round it off. Then you can kind of run your finger along it. You can kind of see, just just taking that sharp edge off of there that mushroomed out a bit. And so now I can take this back off, and I'll put, there we go, the Dremel 443 steel brush back in, and then I do the same thing, run along the edge here. You can kind of polish that up. That was a 80 grit flap wheel. There we go. So that makes that edge smooth again. And then lastly, you can take that same metal polish, and I like to clean up. I need to get a little bit more on there, maybe. Maybe not. Yeah, there's enough. And clean up these plungers so it's nice and smooth.
I knew I didn't have this one soldered down all the way. So I did a
There we
good
go.
yank test.
So it'd be nice to glide through the coil sleeve. So with this one, on the inside here, it's not too terrible. The fact that this has like a U to it, it's gonna make it hard. I can't get in there with that flap wheel. So I think what I'm gonna do is just take the this same brush and kind of go around the edge, clean that up a bit so it's not sharp.
So I cleaned my soldering tip off. That helps so much.
Oh yeah. Flows better.
I'm like, why isn't this working?
I would assume that PBR might have spares of these too, because this is a coil stop as well.
Yeah.
So.
Those you gotta ask about.
Oh, okay.
They don't have like parts listed. You just gotta tell them, this is what I got. And then they're like, yeah, okay, we got one of those. We have a nice used one.
Right. That's one thing about PBR's website, is they just don't have everything listed.
Yes.
And it can be frustrating, but
it distracts people. A lot of times I'll look and I'm like, oh, out of stock. I'm like, all right.
Or if it's not listed, they don't. If you don't, that's my argument. If you don't have it listed, how do people know that you have it so you can sell it?
Yes.
So, it's, to me, I think it's kind of a poor way of doing it. But you know, whatever. It's their business. They can run it however they want to run it. But.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they just would have somebody revamp the website to the point where if they get like 50 of these in, they can put it into the website in the inventory, and the website would automatically know if it's in stock or out of stock.
Right.
Not it would just say in stock or out of stock, and to the point where they depleted their 50 out of their inventory, it would just change the website to say out of stock.
Yep.
It would be like so awesome. Now I got this fully rebuilt. I don't want to rebuild it again. and I want to know I got a full rebuild. So this is where, if you ever see one of my games, you'll see a blue mark on stuff. I'll put them on switches and stuff. That way, right now, if I went through and I just did these two switches, they both have blue marks. So later on, tomorrow, next week, or whatever, whenever I get back to it, I'm like, okay, I did these two, so now I need to do these. And I do that with light bulbs and stuff too. But these, since this is an MGC show, I'm not working on this any other day except for Sundays. I need to remember I rebuilt it, and I might not remember it next week. So, but if you've seen any game that's got a Mark's Basement Arcade business card stapled to the inside or whatever, you'll probably see blue marks on these. And another thing I started doing, I started numbering pop bumpers, because on that Chicago coin, all the wires were long enough where you could take this pop bumper and put it over here, or put it over here. So what I was doing, I was hitting this pop bumper, and that pop bumper was firing. And then when I would hit this pop bumper was firing, because they were in their weird spots. So now, like on this one, I could put it here if I wanted to. If I didn't realize this one was here, but now I just number them all. It saves me a little headache later on.
You want to help me with the assembly?
Sure.
That way?
Yeah.
And then this guy needs to go down. Oh, that was backwards. Okay.
And that will right inside the groove on there. This, you get it right there, you go, right in the right spot. And then right in there, you lift it up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that should sit right into a groove.
Yep, there we go. So
Now
that
when you
needs,
spin it, she'll go back and forth.
that needs this one here.
Yeah, those contacts are really springy. Look at them.
It's possible that someone went crazy. Here, you wanna?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, somebody did.
It wasn't getting good contact or something. They took it off, and they put way too. Yeah, you can see the bend.
Yeah.
That's not factory. They went a little crazy with it.
Let's see what we're doing now. Let's get this out of the way.
Hey Ryan, what's up?
Yeah, no, I need to. Yeah, I think they're good now. Actually, just a little bit.
Ooh, APB Enterprises said all coils are going up in price. Copper went up 60 cents a pound.
Yeah, I hope not.
Well, I mean, for ones that are maybe for new coils,
Yeah.
but for ones that have been in inventory for a long time, which PBR has a huge stockpile of, I wouldn't think that they'd go up overnight based on that, but
you never
maybe
know.
Maybe when he gets new ones made.
Yeah. They've been at like $10 for a while now, so.
Yeah, and I imagine he's got tons in inventory. Because I mean, the last ones I got were for this bowler game, and it looked like they've been sitting around for a long time.
They could have been.
Well, the metal part on it was like had some corrosion. It's just been sitting.
These are always fun. There we go.
All right, so this goes on there. This one. Or is there a washer first?
No, your score reel's got to go on top.
Oh, okay.
We need
Not yet.
There should be one spring.
This one needs to go. It goes there.
And then you got
here's the other spring.
From here to the top there.
Okay. Top one?
Yep.
Alright. There we go. This goes down.
This is the right underneath there in the cam.
There we go.
Yeah, they were moving. Now you put the
score reel on?
Yeah.
You might want to do it. My hands are a little dirtier.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. That's one thing when you're shopping a game, and I always do this. Like, I'll go to put new white rubbers on.
Yeah.
And my fingers are dirty. And I dirty up the brand new rubbers. So I always have to go and wash my hands after.
Oh, it popped out on me. It happens once in a while. We all in there, we're in there, we're in there, we're in there. Let me move this so it's out of my way now.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Back like that.
There we go. Alright, you can let her go.
Alright, and then now we need a washer.
No, there's 2 screws, there's 3 screws.
3 screws. What was the washer for?
The washer, well yeah, the washer goes on top, but it's easier without that clip to put the screws in.
Got it. I need to flip the bit around.
When you don't have the washer and the C-clip on there, you can get all 3 screws really easier.
Okay.
And these are screws too, you just tighten them down and they're tight.
Imagine you don't want to over tighten these.
Yeah, because then you'll strip out that gear. Then you'll probably have to put like a drop of super glue on them to hold them down.
Snug
yeah.
it up.
Yep.
Because same thing with like pop bumper caps going into bodies.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy.
No.
It's you'll easily
destroy it.
Easily break them.
Yeah. Now you got your washer and your clip.
Yep. So, washer. C-clip.
Those clips I recommend buying extras.
I think you could get like a multi-pack of
Yeah.
different sizes if you wanted to. Alright, now we got the coil.
Down there now.
Yep.
Alright, I got that. I gotta get my zip ties. Zip tie that back down. The reason why I zip tie these down is because I'll probably be ending up moving this board again. Because Casino has been sold for a while and it's leaving Saturday. So I need to move my stuff. And this game's going to be in the way. So if you take stuff off like this and zip tie it down, now this whole board, I can move it around. I don't have to worry about stuff dropping around, getting ripped off or anything. And zip ties are cheap. They're very cheap to...
100 pack, Harbor Freight were like $3.
Yep.
Or less.
That's what exactly where I get mine from.
Yeah. And you can get them in all different colors, but I think for the most part, you just use like the white ones or the natural.
Yep. If I'm leaving them on, I like using the white ones. And then these ones I like using black because then I know they got to come off.
I just did that wrong. I gotta flip the coil around.
Oh, you put the coil up the wrong way.
Yep.
Yep. Yep, been there, done that. Won't be the first time. Like I was just telling them before, I said, now I know I number pop bumpers, so I know where they go, because on Chicago Coin I reversed 2 of them. So when I was hitting one pop bumper, the middle one was firing, and then when I hit the middle pop bumper, the side pop bumper was firing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what is wrong now? And it was just because the wires were so long and they fit in each other's spot so nicely. So you couldn't really tell. They were just like so perfect. In this one, oh, that one came out like butter. Look at that. But it's destroyed. I've never had it where they were broke on the end like that. Have you ever had them like that?
Yeah, a couple of times.
I've had them where they're wore out on the bottom, but I've never had on the top where it's broke.
Yeah, it's when that when that coil stop mushrooms out.
Yeah.
It's when that'll happen.
This one isn't bad. It isn't bad at all.
Maybe it goes this way. That's why. Okay. Back in business. Okay.
When are you gonna get to that oddball fireball? Flight 2000.
Oh, Gamatron?
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to. It'd be good to shove it to the front of the line
That thing is odd. I've never seen one. I told somebody about that, and they're like, "Oh, I bet you that thing's fast as hell."
It is.
I'm like, "That's what I was told."
It works. It works. I just so because it's a conversion kit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hacky wiring in there.
You just want to make it clean and.
I want to convert everything. So they converted a Bally over.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hacky wiring. What I want to do is convert it all to Stern, everything.
Okay.
Because then it won't be hacky. And it's literally, it's Flight 2000, but without speech.
Yeah.
So I can put in just the regular boards and everything.
What boards does that use? Does it use just like an MPU 200 or whatever?
It would, but in there is a Bally MPU, and
Okay.
it's got Bally everything, but then there's a special board that they came out with to convert it over.
Oh.
And but now and today there's all kinds of reproduction. I mean, you got the Brockenell stuff.
Yeah.
You got Alltech. I thought there was another company making aftermarket.
Where was Rotten Dog? They made them. I don't think they're making them anymore.
Yeah, they might not be making them anymore. But yeah, there's. So basically, I could take. In fact, I might even have a spare original MPU 200.
Yeah.
That I'll just swap in there. And from the Flight 2000 that I parted out
Yeah.
a while back, I have the wiring harness, so I might be able to just utilize that. So it'll be a job for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is definitely one I want to see. I love my Flight 2000s. I got two of them now. One I'm making one mint one for myself that I'm not getting rid of, as I've said before. But I have gotten rid of games. But the wife really likes them. She really likes Flight 2000. I like Flight 2000. Everybody comes over is like, "Where's that space game?"
I think I'll probably end up getting rid of the Flight 2000 that I have once I have my Gamatron done.
Yeah.
It's just, not that I don't like Flight 2000, but
if you got two, you don't need two.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it'd be fun to sit them next to each other for a little while, but
yeah.
I feel like I would have it's essentially the same game.
Yeah, so. It's whatever you're going to enjoy more.
Right.
And somebody's going to really want that Flight 2000, when you sell it.
Oh, yeah.
I already got somebody, when you're done with that, let me know.
Yeah.
So I already have somebody on the list for my Flight 2000.
Yeah, and they made a ton of those too.
Yeah.
So
Make like a ton of them, but you never see them for sale. And when you do see them for sale, they're sold.
Yeah, early Sterns, Stern Electronic games have just skyrocketed in popularity over the last few years, and I think
everything kind of did, just because everybody's sitting at home now. That's why I've gotten a couple jobs. Stimulus, I think, helped out too.
Yeah.
The big stimulus that everybody got, I think that helped people with their games and getting games repaired.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm booked up till August right now. August, September, something like that.
I was just thinking, there's been more hype around them. For the longest time, they had the reputation of not being of good quality.
Yeah.
They didn't. They were kind of. Frankly, they were just not very popular, and some of them had a lot of them had very low production numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all the early Sterns are great. Meteor was their highest selling, and then I think Flight 2000 was their second highest selling or something.
Yeah.
So but now the ones that were the lowest selling, Stargazer and Quicksilver and Nine Ball are probably the most sought after early Sterns.
Yeah, because people are realizing those games don't suck.
And
they all been upgraded now, so they all work really good.
Right, and there's becoming more and more parts available that weren't available before. I mean, there's a Mirko just came out with a 9-ball playfield.
Yeah.
And they already did Quicksilver. John Greatwich already did Stargazer, and so people are like I'm doing now. People are making them from scratch. And what are they parting out? They're parting out games like Magic and Meteor and Wildfire, whatever they can get their hands on.
I got a Wildfire sitting on in the garage.
Yeah, so they're getting forever. You could get a Meteor for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But it's not that case anymore. So it's kind of, you almost want to go get a brand new cabinet. You can get brand new cabinets in a kit now.
Yeah.
And put one together, which is really cool. But yeah, you still need the hard things are wiring harnesses. There is a guy in Texas, Third Coast Pinball, that makes wiring harnesses, or at least he did.
Yeah.
But that's a huge hurdle. If he wasn't doing that, there would be far fewer people attempting to build a game.
Yes, this is half of Turbo. This is one half of Turbo here.
And then there's other pieces to the puzzle, like the back box lamp board. You still need to get all the mechs.
Yeah.
Plastic sets are available already.
So you're making yours just basically from scratch?
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, CPR did plastics, so I have those. I have the John Greatwich playfield. I got the wiring harness from Third Coast Pinball. I've acquired drop target mechs and things like that from other games.
Yeah.
What else? Switches and things like that. And I converted over a Meteor cabinet to Stargazer. So, lots and lots of work. It's a ton of work to change over a game.
It's gonna be a new game though when you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm done, and then when you're done, I think we're done.
Now I'm just adjusting the switch, so nothing too exciting.
Yeah.
Make sure this is clean.
Am I leaving any little pieces left that can fall when I move? I just love those sounds. Throw these, they're all looking decent.
Alright, so I just have to put this last switch on, and then this one is done.
And then this would be like one thing that, since we did 2 score reels, maybe during the week I'd just finish all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't need 3 weeks of score reel rebuilding.
Well,
that's what I did with the last machine. I did too with Lucky Ace. I took them all apart, and then I rebuilt I think 1 or 2,
Right.
And then off camera I finished them.
Well, and I'm doing the same thing with the Stargazer. Like, no one wants to sit there and watch me, you know, solder on, you know, 30 switches or...
Exactly.
And once you get the gist of what I'm doing, so I did do a live stream of that.
Yeah.
Just to, wait. Before I stick this on here and pay attention to what I'm doing. So you get the gist of it, but it's a lot of rinse and repeat.
Yes.
And, but then some things, like I'll go on to the Facebook group and I'll just post like a picture of kind of what I'm doing, but some of it there isn't a whole lot to see. I'm tumbling metal parts for like days and cleaning, you know, like polishing metal parts. It's not super interesting to watch.
No.
But it looks nice when it's done, you know. Maybe do like a before and after or something of the crappy old.
Yeah, I've done that before,
parts.
where I've taken all the score reels apart and I've shown what they looked like before, and then now this is what they look like clean.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, this is a huge improvement. I'm super impressed with this method.
It's just you're never gonna touch these reels again.
Yeah, and I really like. I mean, it's more work to do it, but yeah, it's.
But now your EM machine, that's one thing you're never going to touch. You will never touch your reels again. Because when was the last time these touched? 40 years ago?
Right.
40, 45 years ago, something like that? You know, they haven't been done anything done to them, except for maybe somebody sprayed oil on them at one time.
Right. And honestly, I don't think I do it to every single game, but if I'm going through and restoring something, I think this is a must. You know? Just gives it that nice pop.
It's now more people understand, like you put 30 hours into that machine.
Oop, label. So this is 100 through
900 or something.
Yeah. Well, you're not gonna be able to tell now.
Yeah. What do we got here?
Print out a new one quick.
This is 1,000 to 9,000. So that was 100 to 900.
Okay. Easy enough.
Yeah, that's easy enough.
Just add a 0 to what I already got. There we go.
Well, these ones,
look at that.
I'll just be sitting there hand cleaning all of them. But I wanted to get them done quick, so it made more sense to throw them all into the cleaner, just to speed things up for today.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, we've been sitting here. While you're tearing them apart, I'm hand cleaning all of them. It just gives me something to do, because I'll turn on my jukebox and I'll play a couple of full CDs on it.
Finishing touch, and I'll print out some more labels for your other 3.
Okay, that's
and
cool.
then
I need to get one of those.
Yeah, I think I just got it off of Amazon.
Yeah.
And you get some extra rolls of the.
I've been looking at them. It's just, it's kind of like ice cream. There's so many different flavors of vanilla. Which vanilla are you choosing?
Right.
You know. I think I'm gonna start doing that on all my machines. When I take them apart, I had this thing where I was gonna do it with keychains. I was gonna take a picture of your back box, print it out real super small, and put in a little acrylic frame. And when you get your machine back, you got a cool little keychain, you know. But I never got around to doing that too. That was one of my other things. And then I'm like, well, now I got to invest into a really good laser color printer, so I can get a small picture.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, it took so long. Oh, just need a zip tie, and then we're good.
Put this over here. I think I'll just take this, lay that down, and you're looking at the floor now. But where's my zip tie? It's there. I need to organize my mess a little better. This is from Toys R Us.
Oh.
When they went out of business, I bought 2 of them.
All right.
That's why I saved the white ones. Those are the permanent ones that stay on the machine. The black ones are the ones I just use to hold whatever I'm doing.
There you go.
I think we're pretty much done for today. See my nice whirlwind sign? I was telling people I just got a whirlwind last night. Thanks, Dan. I got it hung up already. Whirlwind took a big dump last night. It just totally lost it.
All right. Well, I think we got to a good stopping point. So,
yeah.
Thanks for teaching me about score reels, and
you've showed me a bunch of really cool tricks that I'm going to be carrying out, like with the little Dremel tool. I like that.
Yeah.
Just, I did like all these Gottliebs with these real super tiny switches. I did not want to tear them all apart last night, so I had to go back to my old method. But these, you can get in there with the thing, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've taught me a lot of stuff too, so I appreciate that.
Good.
And showed me little different cool tips and tricks to use, like that label thing. I never thought of that. I was just getting one to put on my like coil sleeve, so I know this is the coil sleeve box, this is the coil box, this is the light bulb box, so I don't have to, go through it. I can just go over there and grab it. But I was thinking, yeah, I can relabel all the mix on the machine, so when they pop it open, they're like, wow.
Yeah, they all fall off eventually. So.
Yeah. I used to use that glue stick.
Oh, yeah.
Like that the kids use, and they put it on there and stick a piece of paper. It works good too, but that just is a little more permanent where and it's so easy to read and it looks so nice.
Yep. So cool.
Anyways, anybody got any last minute questions? I don't know what that about.
I don't know. CNK isn't too happy.
Yeah.
Guess we ignored him. Sorry about that, CNK.
I did say it was half of turbo.
Yep. So, anyway, you get busy working on stuff, and your hands are full. It's hard to keep up. Anyway. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for joining us and checking out the stream. I'm sure I'll stop by another time for help out Mark with whatever. And
if you're interested in that.
Yeah. Sorcerer's a cool game. So.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's about it. Sorry that we weren't on chat the whole time, but we were. Oh, you were kidding. Okay. But yeah, I thought I said it was half a turbo. I didn't know if you heard it.
Oh yeah, I think you were over. I think you were getting something. But anyway.
But yeah, sorry about missing chat. It's just both of us getting together and feeding off each other. It was.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow it, and then I got my computer right there, and it's just.
You know what would be cool is to have like.
I could get that working.
Yeah, that would be great. Then you could see, it'd be more visible. But
I have
slowly.
Problem with. I can, tvMGC. I can stream the old chat. I mean the old broadcast. Like later on the night, I can stream it on there. But for some reason, I can't do.
We need to get one for our stream too, because currently what Ryan does for chat is he'll have it on his phone on one side of the game.
Yeah.
Because you have the computer that's running the stream and it's there, but we're not always standing there all the time.
Yeah. I see all of a sudden you guys will be like this, and I'll see somebody going, yeah, that's true.
Right. So it would be great to have something that's bigger that you can always see. So I think. When you have streamers that have they will have a big screen like that, so when you have multiple people you can all see what's kind of going on. So anyway,
I know this laptop has HDMI out, so maybe I'm gonna work on that where I just plug the thing into there, and maybe that will show it a lot better. But there's always little things to upgrade.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, yeah. I guess I'll plug the channel. So Fridays at 8 Central, I stream with Ryan Kuiper on TurboGrafx 7. Where we do gameplay. I also have the Facebook group where I'll be posting anything that is like non-gameplay repairs and things like that. So I'm always working on different pinball projects. My day job, I am the technical service manager for American Pinball, so I do work with any people that buy an American Pinball game, regardless of if it's new or used. If you call the 833 API help, you're going to get me on the phone. I'm always the one that answers that phone number. And I always, and then service at AmericanPinball.com is, you'll get me as well. So anyway, I think that's everything plugged.
Yeah.
But
and what do we got here? What's his toes? I could get a 10 in Amazon tablet. Yeah, I could. Thing is, my laptop, it has HDMI out, and that just clicked in my head. Why don't you plug your computer into the TV set, and then this my screen right here that I'm looking at would be on that TV. So that's a big duh on my end. And you bought a shirt for the MGC, but unfortunately I will not be able to get it in person. Can I? Yeah, I think so. Email the MGC website and just tell them what you got going on, and see if they can work with you. I don't understand why they wouldn't be able to, but yeah, I think so. And then CNK, I've been trying to keep Green Acres quiet, but I'm so bad at keeping secrets. It's a filmless presentation, darling. Yes, it's also the place to be, because farm living is the life for me. Anyways, everybody, take care, and I hope you enjoyed it. We got other shows too. We have some new streams. I don't know where my list is. I'm sure it fell down somewhere. I have to make a new list anyways, but tonight there will be another show on at 9. Dan will be on it. I believe we have a new show on Wednesdays coming up. There's going to be a new one. Thursdays there's a new show. There's always our other shows. Ed is on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. So he would be my brother channel. He does the coin up. I'm the old school EM guy, but I'm going to try to get some of that on this thing, because I think you guys would really enjoy
Sorcerer.
That. Yes, I think you would enjoy watching two people tear that playfield apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested in that.
That'll be a big job for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a big swap on that. So
cool.
yeah, if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome now. We can go through the whole thing.
Sure.
All right. So I don't know when we're going to do that. Week or two, maybe, whenever he's available. But I have to get that done soon. He's going to be screaming about that soon. I can't remember exactly when I told him I was going to get to it, but I told him that had to go first.
Yeah.
Which is a casino. And then I got this person waiting. I'm waiting for boards for that. Anyways, don't want to hear it. TurboGrafx 7. Check them out. There's the website right there. It's on long enough. Twitch TV, TurboGrafx 7. Gotta watch them Friday nights. They always got a cool guest. I was one of the cool guests. So, anyways, I guess that's about it. Anything else for you?
Nope.
Anything else for you guys? Oh, just the streaming. Will Dave be at MGC?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be somewhere.
I'll be there.
We'll look at the pinball machines. I'm sure he'll be around one of those areas.
I'm sure I'll be at the American Pinball booth. So
Yeah.
Come stop by and see me.
And you'll see my handsome self running around with a blue Mark's Basement Arcade shirt. So, or maybe my cousin Marvin will be there, but you'll never know. Anyways, everybody, thanks for watching. Take care, and my famous last words